Hello, my lovelies. I'm going to read a biography to you today. So William Steig, he wrote Sylvester and the Magic Pebble. That's probably the one you know most. Some of you know Abel's Island and a couple other ones, but and I think third grade I read one of his books for Jack Show this year. But anyway, I like him a lot, and he does his illustrations as well, and I like those too. So I like his stories, and I also like his drawing. So this is his little biography I thought I'd share with you. It's kind of cute. When Everybody Wore a Hat. There's the backside. Here we go. This is the story of when I was a boy, almost 100 years ago, when fire engines were pulled by horses. Boys did not play with girls. Kids went to libraries for their books because there was no TV. And you could see a movie for a nickel, and everybody wore a hat. He doesn't really mean almost 100 years ago. He's being sarcastic. This book was published in 2003, just so you know. When Everybody Wore a Hat. Here we go. I guess it is now. It's almost 100 years now that I'm reading this. In 1916, when I was 8 years old. 1916, he was 8 years old. So when was he born? There were almost no electric lights, cars, or telephones, and definitely no TV. Even fire engines were pulled by horses. Kids went to libraries for books. There were lots of immigrants. And this is me, climbing a tree in the Bronx, where I spent most of my childhood. Mom and Pop came to America from the old country. And this is my family at the supper table. I'm going to turn this a little. I was the second youngest. Here we go. We all lived in a small apartment, and it was impossible to be alone. Sometimes Mom and Pop quarreled. They spoke 4 languages: German, Polish, Yiddish, and English. They spoke Polish a lot. Who knows what they were saying? But we learned the important words. When there wasn't enough heat, Pop even fought with the radiator. Radiators, kind of an old-fashioned way of heating rooms. They didn't call them heaters. My father and mother went to the opera pretty often. Caruso was Pop's favorite singer. He would listen to his records on our phonograph. You had to wind it up with a handle. Most of you definitely don't know what that is. Pop loved to play chess with Mr. Hoffman. He said that Mr. Hoffman was the most intelligent man he had ever met. Well, this was Mom's best friend. There we go. I really like this picture. In those days, women wore corsets and heels and hats. Hats, sometimes with fruit. That's something I would wear. There was no such thing as a hatless human being. Cops had hats. Criminals had hats. Even monkeys. There were times when sad news would come from the old country, and it made us scared to see Mom cry. Pop was an expert rower. And the prettiest girl on the block was Marion Mack. Back then, boys never played with girls, so. Mom said Esther Haberman had a big mouth. For a nickel, you could get a lot back then. A hot dog sandwich from a stand, or a pound of fruit. You could go to a movie. You could go to 2 movies if you sat in the same seat. A movie was even called a nickelette. A nickel was money. And on your birthday, you might get a nickel. We moved a lot. The movie men were very strong. We used to go shopping with Mom all the time. We went along to carry stuff. And this is Barney. He was our butcher. Rich people from Europe wore different clothes and hats. Remember what I said about hats? Even though it was on the other side of the world, we all knew that there was a big war going on in Europe. It was called World War I. Prince was the janitor's dog, and the kids were scared of him. Beware of dog. And this lady, she lived in the corner building, and she had lots of cats. Her name must have been Mrs. Ferguson. Well, Mrs. Kingman always had a dog. And that was unusual. She used to pass through our neighborhood all the time, but she was too elegant to live there. She was looked on by the women with admiration. We never went to a doctor's office or even a hospital. Our doctor's name was Dr. Wager, and he came to our house. I wasn't afraid of the doctor, but my brothers were. Dr. Wager had to visit my brother Henry a few times. Once he had the Spanish flu, Spanish influenza. I got my first haircut at Ditchick's Barber Shop, which was across the street from my building on Brook Avenue, and I got to listen to all kinds of stories. Everyone wanted his picture on a horse. To be sitting on a horse like a cowboy, well, that was really something. Cameras were very big then, and you had to stay very still, and this was hard for the horse. In 1916, when everybody wore a hat, I was 8 years old, and when I grew up, I wanted to be an artist or a seaman. And this is a picture of me today without a hat. I did become an artist, but not a seaman. There we go. And here's a little thing on the back. I'm just going to read to you. It talks a little bit about him. William Steig's drawings have appeared regularly in the New Yorker magazine since 1930. He's also the author and illustrator of over 30 books for children. Most recently, he wrote Which Would You Rather Be? Pizza Pizza, he also wrote. Zeke Pippin, and he also wrote Dr. DeSoto Goes to Africa. His other books include Sylvester and the Magic Pebble, which was a winner of a Caldecott Medal. The Amazing Bone, that's the one I read to Mrs. Source's class for right around the Jack Show, or was it for the Jack Show, actually, for 3rd grade. The Amazing Bone, which was also a Caldecott honor book, one of my favorite stories. And he also wrote Abel's Island and Dr. DeSoto. Both of those were Newbery honor books. Mr. Steig lives in Boston with his wife, author, and artist Jean Steig. In 1916, he was 8 years old. Good job, those of you who figured it out, and I think all of you did. All right, I like that story. When everybody wore a hat. It's actually nice to read these little biographies every now and then for you guys, and I hope you enjoyed that one too. And then when we come back to school in the fall, you guys can check out some of his books. I've recorded a few. that you guys can watch here on the videos too, so you can do it that way. And I know a lot of his books are readily available on Sora and other online sources that you guys might be using right now. So, all right, that's it for now. It's almost time for me to go home from work. One last look around the library. Here we are. Hello, library. The library misses you guys. All the books are saying, "Where's our kids? Where's our kids?" So, and I tell them, soon, soon. They'll be back soon. Fingers crossed. All right, guys, stay safe, and I'll see you later.